Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Wieso sage ich jetzt Pathfinder? Natürlich hier Dings, Bums, Chaos at Noir. Und ja, wir sind jetzt ja in der Rückblende von Yuas, welche jetzt, also wir erfahren jetzt ein bisschen was von Yuas Kindheit mit Mia. Also war doch zumindest Mia, also ihre jüngere Zwillingsschwester. Ich habe eigentlich irgendwie im Kopf gehabt, beziehungsweise irgendwie gedacht, dass noch, wie gesagt, dass ich die Serie geschaut habe, ist ein bisschen her inzwischen, dass Yua die jüngere Schwester war. Aber offenbar hatte ich das irgendwie falsch im Hinterkopf gehabt. Ist ja auch nicht so wichtig. First came a memory from when the two had still been in elementary school. On one day, some relatives had brought the girls a single large teddy bear as a present. In contrast to Roger, Yua displayed Mia insisted that she did not like stuffed animals and proceeded to not even so much look as the plushies way. Both her relatives and parents were upset with Mia for not acting as a child should. But despite Mia's protest, Yua whispered to her that the two of them could share it, that it could be something they could both treasure. However, in response to her sister's kindness, Mia simply said that she did not want it and that Yua could have it. About a month later, when Yua had grown tired of the teddy bear, she woke up in the night and happened to witness a certain scene. Das ist so knuffig! Dazu muss man fairerweise sagen, einen Teil dieser Folge habe ich schon gespielt, aber dadurch, dass dann irgendwie abrupt mein Speicherplatz ausgelaufen ist, obwohl er eigentlich noch mehr gehabt hätte. Keine Ahnung, wie das so schnell kommen konnte. Musste ich einfach den Save nochmal laden und das Ding jetzt nochmal spielen. Keine Bange, ich habe maximal 5 Minuten oder so, wann das, die ich drin war. Aber daher kenne ich schon dieses Bild. Es ist schon knuffig. With an incredible joyful look on her face, Mia was hugging and talking to the bear plushie. That was the first time you had ever seen her sister so happy. And from this, she realized that her sister's insistence about disliking stuffed animals had been a lie. Mia had been keeping her own feelings hidden, all for the sake of her older sister. The next day, Yua found a lovely drawing of a bear beneath Mia's pillow. Oh. Until her sister had grown tired of the teddy bear, Mia had been hugging and sleeping with the drawing in lieu of it. Das ist eigentlich schon traurig. Things very similar to this happened again and again all over the 18 years they spent together. For the birthday celebrations, Yua always blew out the candles and the cake, but when Mia was prompted to do it, she would say, "I refuse to do something so ridiculous," angering her parents. Yua advanced to the private high school Sumer Academy. Meanwhile, Mia had been misbehaving at school, deliberately scoring low in exams, and therefore moved to a public high school. Das ist jetzt kacke. Due to the exorbitant fees, the parents would have only been able to afford to send one of them to a private school. Also, was ich eben meinte mit das wäre jetzt kacke, dass mein Bildschirm kurz schwarz geworden ist. Deshalb habe ich kurz auf dem Aufnahmescreen von der Elgato Software weitergelesen. The parents would only... No matter how hard you tried to let the sister have something, Mia would always gain the upper hand and force you to prioritize. To achieve this, and she even intentionally took a dislikable attitude. Das hatte ich auch schon in der ersten Aufnahmeversuch, nenne ich es mal, gesagt, aber das ist zwar vielleicht sehr lieb von mir, aber das ist doch nicht gut. Das ist doch ungesund, das ist... Sie muss doch auch mal an sich selbst denken. Ein wenig. Das macht Yua doch auch nicht glücklich.
Ich war 結局 ミアちゃんの優しさに甘えて今まで自分だけいい思いをしてきました。ミアちゃんがいなくなって初めてもっとあの子のために何かできることがあったはずだってすごく後悔して、私が代わりに死んであげればよかった。しかも挙句に親に存在そのものを忘れられてしまうなんて こんなのあんまりです。あんまりにも悲しいです。
You having now reached her limit, could no longer squeeze out any more words. She took off her glasses, pressed her fingers against the corner of her eyes, and broke down in tears. Momosa sat down beside her and gently rubbed her back.
それでユアちゃんは一人で事件のことを調べていたらしいの。ミアちゃんに一体何があったのか知るためにね。
そりゃ大変だったわ。
そして一人の人物を突き止めた。
As Momosa held Yua's shoulders, she turned her eyes toward Ben.
西条匠くんよ。
なるほどね。
Looking the stubble on his chin, Ben leaned forward from the sofa.
いつだったか西条と追跡劇をしてたっていう女子高生の話を所轄のデカから聞いたんだが、もしかしてユアちゃんだったりする？
Yua nodded apologetically.
興味あるな。詳しく聞かせてもおうと思ったけどちょっとごめんよ。
With a strained smile, Ben lightly bowed his head to more Yuan. His words had been interrupted by the cell phone in the suit pocket. He swiftly took out the phone and checked the screen. Suba's name was displayed across it.
もしもし、どうした？
先輩、7番目っす。
The 7 new gen. Suba's voice sounded strained. The sound of investigators frantically scurrying about could be heard through the phone. Suba must have been at the investigation headquarters.
ニュージェネ第7の事件が起きたんすよ。
Ben's eyes opened wide and his expression turned bitter as his teeth sank into his lip. Sensing the seriousness of the situation from his behavior, Momosa and Yua watched the detective with
被害
unease.
者は3人、友人同士らしいっす。3人とも胴体から体が切断されてて、それぞれの上半身と下半身を別々に入れ替えてテグス、釣りとっすね。それで縫い付けられてたっす。それと額にそれぞれ Q、D、N って読める傷が。
QDN, also DQN kann man das auch umsetzen.
何かのメッセージか？
さあ、そこまでは。それと気になることが、司法解剖の結果分かったんですけど、外車の胴体の切断部はノコギリとか包丁とかそういう刃物で切断されたものじゃないって。
どういう意味だ？
なんか強い力で引きちぎられたそうっす。
引きちぎられた。
Ben repeated Suba's words back to him with a low groan, then reluctantly scratched his head with the sender of his fan.
まるで怪獣だな。あるいは最近流行りの魔法使いとかな。
先輩、それマジで言ってんすか？映画オタクの自分でもさすがにその意見には同意しかねるっす。
なんなら例えだバカな。いいからさっさと捜査に戻れ。
After barking that order to Suba, Ben ended the call. Hey, wir sind wahrscheinlich wieder bei Taku. Now that it was November, I had the feeling that the sun was already setting much earlier than before. By the time Rumi and I started heading home together after school, a faint orange was already staining in the
ご
sky.
めんね。
Despite being silent up until now, Rumi abruptly apologized.
いろいろ大変だったんでしょ。
It was the first time I had gone home with Rumi in a while. I was genuinely really happy that she had come back. She had even been the one to initiate it, saying, "Let's walk home together." Since we had only gone home together no more than twice, I had secretly been worried that it would never happen again. However, that turned out not to be the
一
case.
緒にいてあげられなくてごめん。知り合いが例の地震で怪我しちゃって、ずっと面倒見てたから。
Even though I hadn't asked, Rumi was kind enough to explain herself to me. Though to be frank, almost all of Rumi's words were going in one ear and out the other. The bandage. The bandage I had seen on Nanami's wrist at lunch break. It had been burned into my eyes and refused to go away.
もしかして怒ってる？
In the end, I had failed to say anything to Nanami. I had been too scared. Even though Nanami was my little sister, even though I was Nanami's older brother. Something had just felt unbelievably strange, and I had no idea what it was. The nurse had said that Nanami had no injuries. That hand that Shogun had delivered to my base had disappeared from the fridge without a trace. It all had to have been a delusion. But if that was true, why had Nanami's right wrist been wrapped in a bandage? Though it was possible that I was just overthinking it, and that she had just gotten burned, or stung by something, or got some other stupid minor injury that didn't matter at all. Yeah, that was probably it. That was the most logical answer. But even now, I was still too scared to check. Even after failing to save her, I was still just pacing around doing nothing, not even trying to talk to my very own sister. I really was the worst brother ever.
ねえタク、おい、もしもし。
もしもし。Ich fand's so
怒ってる
gruselig.
ならそう言ってよ。無視されるのって結構傷ついちゃうな。
え
I looked over at Remy, who seemed weirdly disheartened.
もしかして私の話聞いてなかった？
Jetzt hast du ein Problem, Junge. After hesitating for a second, I nodded. And the moment I did, Remy jabbed my cheek with her
石、
forefinger.
てっきり無視されたかと思ったよ。紛らわしいことしない。
Oh, you just jabbed your nail into my cheek.
あ、大丈夫？
Remy finally stopped poking me, and out came those words I heard so often from her. Words of worry and concern. Words that I had heard from Remy again and
お
again.
昼ぐらいから顔色良くないよ。元気もないみたいだし。もしかして誰かにひどいこと言われた？
Kann man so sagen. Da gibt es so ein paar Optionen, auf das das zutrifft.
だったら私に教えて。怒ってきてあげるから。
I'm ready to get mad right along with you. Oh, was für ein geiler Satz. She was acting like an older sister or a guardian, even. Remy was just a hopeless meddler. Well, that would be an obvious. That had been obvious from the moment she'd given an otaku freak like me the time of day. I was grateful to her for being worried about me. Before now, I had either bottled up my worries deep inside or posted them anonymously on a channel. Should I tell her about what had happened with Nanami? But when I had told her about the D-Sword that one time, she hadn't believed me at all. Then again, that would be the natural response from anyone sane. So if I were to tell her about Nanami, she would probably either A, be speechless, or B, just laugh in my face. And if that was true, there really was no point in telling her. All I needed was for her to stay by my side. It would be better to bring the topic up with Kosopi or Senna instead.
相変わらず汚いね。
Mere moments after stepping foot into my base, Remy muttered that in exasperation, and yet paradoxically she seemed to be smiling happily as well.
変わってないな。この部屋の汚さがまさにタクって感じ。
Danke. If you're gonna be like that, then just clean it. Be my guest. With a sigh, I turned on my PC.
ちょっとちょっと。帰ってくるなりパソコン？友達が来てるんだから少しはおもてなししてあげようっていう気持ちにはならないのかな。
Das ist Tag, über den wir reden.
お話ししようよ。
Komm. Delusion Time, wir kicken wieder rein. Ich gehe mit All Green. After hitting me with such an unreasonable demand, Remy sat down on the sofa. If I tried to have a one-on-one conversation with a 3D girl, it would be over in seconds. As much as I'd gotten used to talking with Remy, since I had had a lot more chances to do so recently, I still doubted I would even last 5 minutes. Moreover, my head was already fully occupied with the stuff about Nanami, so I very much didn't feel up for casual conversations. And so I resorted to just ignoring her. I sat down in my chair while remaining painfully aware of my own worthlessness. Komm, was für eine Delusion kriegen wir uns jetzt wieder rein? Oh, es ist kein verschwommenes Bild. I sensed me moving behind me, the rustling of That of the closest was growing
だか
closer.
ら無視しないでよ。
Oh. Was für ein knuffiges Bild. Oh. Und Cedric ist neidisch. Before I had the chance to turn around, I was embraced from behind. A gentle shower scan hit me. My back was struck by the soft sensation of Rumi's breath.
寂しいよ。そういうことされると。
I must have been running away from reality again, giving myself a delusion that was a lot easier to swallow than the real world. Upon thinking that, the sheer emptiness I felt overpowered any lust I may have had, and I was no longer able to enjoy the delusion anymore. Rather than taking her and pinning her down on the bed, I decided to throw out all the things I could have only voiced in the delusion such as this.
僕だって寂しかった。辛かったんだ。リミがこの1週間全然連絡くれなくて。
I could feel the movement of Rumi's body directly against my back. Her chest faintly rose in favor of her every breath. As obvious as the fact may have been, it reminded me that Rumi truly was alive.
ごめん。一緒にいてあげられなくてごめん。
Rumi tightened her embrace around me.
私の中でもまだ迷いがあって、どうしたらいいかわからなくて、ちょっと考えてみようと思って。
Doubts like what? What could she have been talking about?
そもそも私、タクと一緒にいていいのかなとか、このままの関係を続けるべきなのかなとか。でもね、このままじゃきっとダメなんだ。それじゃ何も救えない。
Es ist... Ich erinnere da nochmal an die Szene, wo Rimi hier in dem Krankenzimmer stand mit Shogun. Oder mit dem, den wir für Shogun halten, je nachdem, wie man, der sich auch selber Shogun nennt.
ねえ、タク。私が最初に願ったのはさ、一つだけだった。なのにどうして私は際限なく望み続けちゃうんだろうね。あの空を見つけた時に私は。
When I found that sky, jupp. Wichtiger Punkt. I had no idea what Rumi was talking about, nor did I know how to respond to it. Some silence enveloped us. Man muss dazu halt fairerweise sagen, Rimi weiß viel, viel mehr als Taku. I could hear Rimi's gentle breath close to my ear. But no matter how long I waited for her to end it with some silly punchline, none ever came into the wafting silence. Also damit meine ich auch, Rimi weiß wesentlich mehr über Taku als er selbst. Und nein, das erkläre ich Ihnen erstmal nicht weiter, weil das wäre Spoiler. Was it possible that this wasn't a delusion? The moment I considered that, a wave of anxiety ran through me. In reality, Rumi was hugging me. She was pressing tightly against me. That realization alone nearly destroyed any sense of reason I had. I had the feeling that in a situation like this, if I pinned Rumi to the bed, she would let me have my way with her. With a gulp, Und Stimmung zerstört.
今の何？
Rumi let go of me in surprise, and the tender sensation vanished along with her. A complicated mix of both relief and disappointment spread through my chest. Wait a second, Rumi had just hit my Sarah 10 notification tone. Oh god, how embarrassing. When I opened my email software, I saw about 3 messages from Grimm telling me to join the chat room. Now that I thought about it, I hadn't really chatted much with Grimm recently. We had used to talk online pretty much every day. But since I'd been refraining from playing ESO, it had been around 10 days since we had last talked. Jo, Hey, I've been Nighthead Goon. I've been waiting for you. BC, there's been another new gen. What are you even on about? Inside ASCII art here. New gen, dude. What the fuck do you even think I'm on about? How exactly did we go from new gen to new gen? New generation, new gen, nude. Come on, that shit obviously use common sense. One point is there's a seventh
どうし
case.
たの？
Likely having noticed my gasp, Remy stood up and walked over to me. She peeked over my shoulder at the monitor.
第7の事件。
It had happened again, another new gen. How long was this damn thing gonna go on for? Was I next? Would I be the victim of the 8th case, the 9th?
タク、気にすることないよ。何も怖いことなんてない。タクは狙われたりなんかしない。全部タクの被害妄想。ね。
That was completely baseless encouragement. You can't calm me down with such weak sauce shit, Remy. Anxiety aside, Grim was pretty much the new gen news guy at this point. He had been keeping me in the loop about basically everything. Even now, he was going out of his way to link a bunch of blog posts and news articles about it. Seemed like he really wanted me to take a look. Biting my lip, I reluctantly clicked the first link. New Gen case dubbed the Duquesne puzzle. On November 4th at approximately 4:50 a.m., the dead bodies of 3 men were discovered hanging from an iron pole near a railroad in Shibuya, Tokyo. The accused have been identified as 19-year-old Fujita Koe, unemployed, 20-year-old Anzawa Sabo, a college student, and 19-year-old Takagi Ryu, a construction worker. According to the police, the bodies were severed in half at the waist, but the wounds do not indicate use of any sharp weaponry. Furthermore, the bottom halves of each of the bodies were interchanged with one another, forming new combinations which were tightly sewn back together with threads. Carved into each body were the letters Do, Q, N, respectively. The police are investigating the possibility that this may be a message left behind by the culprit. On the popular anonymous online message board, channel images of the incident were leaked prior to the official coverage of the events. It has already been accepted as the 7th case of the New Gen madness, aka New Gen, and it was questioned the Duquesne puzzle, due to the manner in which the top and bottom halves of the corpses were recombined. Beyond actually, the term Duquesne means an individual lacking basic common sense. Regarding the serial New Gen cases, the mourning families of the victims have been taking legal actions against some particular offensive posts on Ad Channel, a move which has sparked fierce debate online. Also ich finde das schon richtig, was die Familien da machen. Interview with Yuri Brightman, UBC Television USA. Oh. Yuri Brightman. Der Name taucht hier schon mal auf, bin ich der Meinung. 1000 quotes about Esper Boy flood in overnight. His body was glowing, mysterious eyewitness testimony you won't see on TV. Esper Boy told me... It is what it said, literally zero connection to the other cases. Police are dumb as fuck. You're trying to say it's one of us anti-Duquesnes? With the lower body swept around and sit like, but with corpses. If only I could trade my upper... okay, our Esper Boy needs to sniff out the perp. Oh man.
今日午前4時50分ごろ、東京都渋谷区の線路沿いで男性3人の他殺死体が鉄柱に吊り下げられているのを通りかかった新聞販売員の男性が発見しました。警察の調べによりますと、殺されたのはいずれも渋谷区に住む無職藤田康平さん、大学生の安沢三郎さん、とび職の高木亮さんの3人です。3人とも胴体の部分が切断され、それぞれの上半身と下半身が別々に入れ替えられて糸で縫合されていました。3人の額にはそれぞれ謎の傷がつけられており、警察では 犯人からのメッセージではないかとみて調べています。渋谷では2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能性が高いとみて捜査を続けています。
At the end of the news clip, photographs of the three victims were shown. I had seen those faces before.
あいつらだ。
知ってるの？
昨日僕に絡んできた。
I had given them my wallet, but they had kicked my ass anyway. I had then fallen unconscious, and when I woke up, Kurupi was beside me. The three of them had been collapsed on the ground, covered in blood. I dug my wallet up from my pocket and stared at it intently. When I came to, Kurupi had been carrying it, and she had given it back to me soon after. Could the person who had killed those three be... Unwahrscheinlich? No, definitely not. The last time I had seen them, they had been beaten into a pulp and covered in blood, but they hadn't been cut in half or anything, which would mean they had been killed after Kurupi and I had left. It had to have been Shogun. That wrinkly asshole was trying to provoke me. Damn it, he really was committed to driving me insane. Just how far was he willing to go? I wanted to vomit. I clutched my stomach as it churned in pain. Was I next? Would I be next to die?
終了。
A hand reached out from behind me and pushed the power button on the monitor. The screen went pitch black.
落ち着いて。気にすることないよ。ただの偶然だって、きっと。
Why was Remy acting so ridiculously optimistic? This couldn't possibly be just a series of coincidences.
それより、お腹空いちゃった。ねえ、私が行きつけのお店があるんだけど、そこにご飯食べに行かない？安くて美味しいんだよ。私が保証する。
I've got my Remy guarantee.
お客さんはおじさんが多いから、私みたいのが一人で行くのはちょっと恥ずかしいけどね。あ、それと駅の中に入らなくちゃいけないんだった。渋谷駅のコーナーにあるから。ちなみに山手線内回りと外回りのホームどっちにもあるんだけど、私は断然内回りの方が好き。
Food, huh? I really didn't have much of an appetite right now. It felt like Shogun was throwing a knife straight to my throat. Like he was saying, I can kill you whenever I please. Please just let me go. What I had done to deserve this. I couldn't take it anymore. Ooh, D-Sword. Kishimoto Ayase was lying in a hospital bed, idly gazing out the window. No bars lined on the outside of it, a fact which set it apart from those Arcade Medical, where Ayase had stayed in the past. All that stood past the window's frame was the landscape of Shinjuku, decorated by skyscrapers and illuminated by the sunset. Flocks of pigeons soared freely through the sky, flapping their wings to their heart's content. Every now and then she would gaze upon the sight with a pained expression. Her slightly tight eyes were empty and bleak, her irises reflect nothing. Her lips, which could let flow a voice so beautiful it shook the youth of Shibuya, were now sealed tight, not even as much as a hum escaped from them. Following her suicide attempt and even an event which caused quite the turmoil, she had been admitted to the psychiatric ward of a large hospital in Yoyogi. Her injuries were already nearly healed. According to the doctors, it had been nothing short of a miracle that she had been able to survive a fall from that high, let alone with barely even a scratch. However, she had indeed hit her head fairly hard, and as such she had been rushed to the hospital primarily so they could see how the situation would develop. It had already been over a week since then. However, despite her having been admitted for such a reason, all it seemed to entail was a few rudimentary tests taken every couple of days or so. Beyond that, she had been rather neglected. The hospital room was private, with no other beds inside. Ever since her stay had begun, her D-Sword had been leaning against the window. It constantly emitted a blue light, yet nobody who visited her ever seemed to notice. Not that there had been many visitors to begin with. Phantasm fans would attempt to force their way into her room daily, but as they always caused a disturbance in the process, the hospital had an excuse to forbid them from visiting her. And since Aisha was somewhat detached from her family, there were almost no others who came to visit her. Her fellow band members had made an appearance once, but Aisha used that opportunity to denounce her decision for the band to break up. They had not contacted her again since. Und ich würde sagen, an dem Punkt... Und sie wieder da. Aber ich würde sagen, an dem Punkt beende ich jetzt diese Folge. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.